Hey, welcome back. Today we're going to be talking about the letter A in the English language. Now, believe it or not, we actually have three different sounds for A in English. We have A, we have ah, and we have A, and we're going to go over those each individually. So our first one is the ah sound, which you need to produce by opening your mouth horizontally. You go ah, ah, and words that have that sound in them, for example, are had, bad, mad, happy, stuff like that. Then our next sound is the ah sound. So this is really more of an O sound, but instead of going horizontal like in hat, we're going to go ah. So that makes the mouth a bit more vertical, going ah, like in father. So this last syllable, or the last way to say the letter A, is very different because really it's two sounds in one. It's A-E. And it's funny because that's actually the name of the letter A. But if you say it slow enough, it sounds like you're saying A-E. So it's two different sounds. It's got an E and this I sound kind of mixed together. And you're saying A. For example, in major, ace, say. And it's kind of silly that that's represented as one letter because really it's two different sounds. But just look at my mouth when I'm saying this. It's A, A, A. Okay? But if I say it slowly, A, it starts out big, A, and then you kind of show your teeth at the end. E, A, A.
So that's the letter A, and now we know that there are three different sounds. So if you need to figure out which one it is in a certain word, be sure to look it up first. So in addition to the individual letter A that we saw with the three different letters, there are certain combinations with other letters that the letter A uses that have specific pronunciations in English, and we're going to go over those individually as well. So the first combination that I want to show you is AI, which actually uses the same sound as A. For example, in bait, in main, domain, strain. The only exception to this is when we have an R at the end, such as in fair, air, and pair. So now we're going to talk about AR. And for this sound, we usually use the same sound that you would use the ah sounds, like in father. So for example, we have far, bar, Mars, all vertical sounding, having the mouth go ah, so far, bar, Mars. Now when we add a Y to ARY, so to the AR it's R, but in ARY is airy. So a slightly different sound. And it actually doesn't belong really to any of the three of the A sounds that we discussed earlier. So it's kind of its own sound. You get airy, such as in library, secretary, and military. So this specific ending is it's important in American English because in different forms of English, such as British English, they say something like library, secretary, and military. But in American English, it's airy. It's military, secretary, library. So when A has a T at the end, such as in bat, fat, mat, it is almost always going to have one of the first sound that we talked about, which is the ah sound, which is with a more open mouth, go ah, but with the lips coming out to the side, so it's more horizontal shapes. You're going ah, so bat, fat, mat. So next we have the AW sound, and the closest we're going to get to this is the ah, like we saw in father and far and hard and those words. So this one is going to go ah, so like saw, paw, and thaw. And finally we have AY, and this one almost always says A, and that's our third A sound. So we've got say, may, bay, and ray. So remember, anytime you say AY, that is really more two different sounds. And just keep that in mind.